how OpenAI paid $200 million for an 18-month-old podcast. So TBPN, which people thought it was Tech Bros Podcast Network. I thought it was that the whole time, but apparently it's called something else. So they paid $200 million for this podcast. I'm opening up the post right now on Instagram.
I didn't know it was $200 million. I saw the post because the post I saw when they did the announcement, they didn't disclose the price.
What did you think it was?
I had no idea.
Yeah. So anyway, the key thing here is I'm not going to pull it up, but so $200 million. And the thinking here is that we can talk about this. OpenAI, they get a lot of press written about them, right? Not all of it's good press right now, especially that New York Times article, right? So the thinking here is like Andreessen Horowitz has said that, they want to own the media. They want to own what's being said about them. So I think this is what OpenAI is trying to do. And for Sam Altman, it's probably like, okay, it's $200 million. It's probably a drop in the bucket versus all the other stuff that they have going on. So he probably let the transaction through. Now, so they have to turn off all their ads now. This podcast last year did $5 million with 11 employees. This year it has like a $30 million run rate. That being said, so now it's gonna be their distribution channel or whatever. You can argue it's a distraction, but maybe they have somewhat like a VP that's managing it. What do you think about this transaction?
So they already have so many eyeballs, I think it's a waste, but that's just my 2 cents. Also owned by them, I think your guests are going to end up changing too, and who's going to want to be on it and not be on it. For example, why would Zuck want to continually be on a podcast owned by OpenAI? That's just my 2 cents. Maybe I'm wrong. You and I are both media companies in of ourselves, right? Because we have audiences. I find that media, having eyeballs is really valuable, but owning the properties isn't always the best. And, we throw conferences all throughout the world and our own events. So we just came back from Canada, and I was doing an event in Toronto, and I think our event is called Full Circle. I should know this, but I don't know it.
Unbelievable.
I showed up. I didn't even know we were having an event. But dude, I'm speaking sometimes like 4 times a week where it's just so hard to keep track.
Yeah.
It's just like,
Dude, you went from no speaking to full speaking.
More than last year. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
I think this week alone, I gave 5 speeches.
Wow. Including online?
No, not including
all
online.
In person?
All in person. It's becoming so much that like I didn't even know we were throwing our own event.
Yeah.
I know we throw our own event, but it's usually partnered with the Canadian Marketing Association. And this time they're just like, we want to throw our own event, like an NP digital event. So what our team did, which I thought was really smart, there's a conference, a social media conference that I was speaking at the next day called Social Next. And I spoke at their Calgary event. I spoke at their Toronto event yesterday. They had really good ratings and feedback from me. The founder of it said, he's just like, hey, guess what? His name's Mike. He's like, did you know you were our highest rated speaker? He's like, pretty much for the whole event. People were ecstatic for you. Or think it was the whole event or the whole year for all their events. So he's ecstatic. And I didn't know that we partnered with him to throw our own event. And they sold tickets to it. I think they sold 180 tickets at $500 a pop. We also put money out of our pockets because we normally spend, call it $25,000. This is in Canadian dollars, by the way, for on both ends, ticket prices and how much we spend. So let's call it, I don't know how much the event did in profit, but my guess is it broke even based on everything I can see with the food and everything.
Which they usually do, by the way.
Yeah. So I was talking to my team how we'd end up doing this. I'm like, don't tell me we're getting in the conference business. And they said, no, we're not getting a conference business. Social Next runs it for us. It's our branded event and they handle everything. It's for them to make profit or for them to lose money. We, of course, help them because we don't want them to lose money.
And for the leads to go to you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And for events, usually you end up losing money for the first few years. And most people don't realize that. But if you do a really good job, you can eventually make money. They're really happy. They want to work with us more. And I was like, yeah, we should roll this out on the west coast of Canada too, because this conference organizer does both the east and the west coast. And then I was like, we should do this in a lot of countries. So instead of us owning the conference, we don't want to own the conference. And I think my team made the right decision. But we're getting access to the media and the eyeballs, and it's kind of like ours because you're
co-branded.
Yeah, it's co-branded.
Yeah.
But we don't have to deal with the logistics, the food, or anything. And yes, eventually they'll make great profit from it. we don't care for the profit because that's not our core business.
Yep.
I don't think the money is in running media companies.
That's so smart. That's actually something a lot of people should do. Because there's a lot of these conference businesses that are hungry for distribution audience and they just want to make money, whereas you just want the lead
Yeah,
to
we
make
just want the leads.
more money, to be honest.
Correct.
So
Because
so
we believe our business model is better than running a conference.
yeah, which is true. Okay, so I actually pulled up the deal here. So you got Zuck's face, Alex Karp's face from Palantir, and you got Satya Nadella's,
Yeah.
right? So deal valued at 200 million. I'm sure there's maybe there's some stock. I don't know. And only 11 employees, and then 5 million ad revenue in 2025, on track for 30 million. Revenue per employee, assuming 30 million in sales is greater than Apple's. I think that's a stupid comparison. To even
Yes.
talk about that. Yeah.
$30 million
Yeah.
versus do you want to know what Apple's revenue
Billions and
is?
billions.
I think is Apple getting close to 400? Well, dude, oh wow.
What is it?
Yeah, I was right. 416 billion in
Yeah.
revenue.
Yeah, I'll take the other one. Yeah.
Yeah.
So okay, here's the thing. So look at this. They achieve 4 to 10,000 views per episode, which is not a lot. 257,000 average views per clip on X. The clips aren't marketing. The clips are the product. Okay, so average views on YouTube 4K, which is not much. Average live viewership 7K. So the clips do really well for them, which is cool because X has a lot of tech folks hanging out there. So they are very much like in the middle of the culture, or you can call it the zeitgeist, I guess. Tech buying media is an old playbook. Microsoft plus NBC plus MSNBC equals MSNBC's Bloomberg sells terminals. Robinhood acquired Market Snacks. I don't think a lot of these go anywhere. And I think in this case, sure, maybe it's a drop in the bucket, but OpenAI had just said, because it's code red right now, because Anthropic's whooping their butt, they said we got to focus right now. They said they're gonna move it over to the enterprise. I had talked to someone yesterday. This is a salesperson because we're talking about working with their company, and he said, we're on ChatGPT Enterprise right now. We were going to switch to Anthropic, which would have been like $5 million switch. But ChatGPT was like, whoa, 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 whoa. We have something coming out that's going to crush co-work in the next month, which they probably aren't. But you can see they're losing a lot of like deals
Yes.
left and right.
I believe they really are losing a ton of deals right now.
Yep. So anyway, on the topic of X, Neil, I did something.
Wait,
Yeah.
let's go back really quickly to OpenAI. Did you see their marketing move
What?
that they just pulled off?
What they do?
They already have the eyeballs.
Uh-huh.
They're losing a lot of people to Claude.
Yeah.
So what did they just announce? Cheaper pricing and integration
when they
with
announced
Claude.
it. Oh
Yesterday.
yeah. The integration with was it Claude Code? I think it's integration
Uh-huh.
to Claude Code. Yeah.
Yeah. Which
Yeah.
is smart because you're being the pipes,
Mhm.
right? And in marketing, if you can't win the mind share, you can win a lot of people just on price. Like if your offer is just half the price or a third, a lot of people will just switch over.
Yeah. And so with Open Claude right now, by the way, Anthropic had shut down just to use the OAuth, which means that you could just use like a $200 subscription instead of paying like $7,500 like I did last month. So they shut off the loophole. Now a lot of people are switching over to using Codex or ChatGPT 5.4, sorry, from
Wait,
OpenAI.
can you break down what you're talking about with the $7,500?
So what was happening with Open Claude was people were using Claude for it because Claude is still the best model to use
Yeah.
Open Claude with. Okay, so but there was a loophole. You could actually tie in Open Claude with your Claude subscription, which is only $20 or $200 a month, and Anthropic will subsidize your $200 for it's like $5 to $6 grand worth of tokens. Okay, so people were abusing it that way, but that was costing Anthropic too much money. So they're like, we gotta shut that
So they
down.
closed the loophole.
We got to shut that down. And when they shut that down, all of the entire Open Claude community got mad, right? And so a lot of them are moving over to OpenAI's and they're just using their subscription, which OpenAI is okay with because they own
Open Claude.
Open Claude, right? So, but this week, Claude, this is a misstep, I think. They launched their own version of Managed Agents, which is like an Open Claude competitor. It's a piece of crap right now. It'll probably get better, but it's kind of trash. So
Yeah.
yeah. But net, I think Anthropic's doing a really good job of shipping. Their high velocity shipping is a way of marketing because they have all these like clips that they're sharing on X and they're doing well. Google does a really good job too. Google makes like a Gemma account. They have like a Nano Banana account. They have all these accounts and they all like cross promote each other and they get hundreds of thousands, if not millions of views.
It's funny. No one really talks about Nano Banana anymore, but it's so great.
I love it. It's great. Yeah.
If you're not using it and you're a marketer, You're making a big mistake.
Quick break. I want to tell you about something that we've been building. For years at Single Grain, we've been doing SEO and content for clients, and the biggest problem is always execution. Everyone knows what to do, but doing it at scale is brutal. So we built ClickFlow. It's an AI SEO product that creates content that actually sounds like your brand, not just generic AI garbage. It also helps with other areas such as internal linking, creating FAQs, and more. We use it ourselves, our clients use it. One user reported saving over 90 hours a month alone. If AI SEO matters to your business, you can try it for free for 14 days at clickflow.com. All right, back to it. Yeah. So something I want to talk about. So Jack Dorsey wrote something about world intelligence. Okay, so I was reading this post, and I was like, as I was reading this post, he talks about this concept of world intelligence, where you have this one AI that's trained and integrated with all of your software, and then your entire team can query this. And I'm reading it, I'm like, dude, we have this already. So then I write a post on how you can deploy world intelligence to X. That post gets about 500,000 views on it. And what I realized, and I don't know what you're seeing, Neil, but a lot of companies have reached out to us after that, right? They're like, and we have Single Brain, right? Single Brain is this world
Yeah.
intelligence. And vibe coded website or not, it drives leads. I'll tell you that much. So um, a couple of publicly traded multi-billion-dollar companies reached out this week, and what I've learned from the AI needs from people is everyone wants AI. Two, they have no idea what they want. Okay, but number three, they want it now. Okay,
Yes.
so everyone, to your point, like as you were saying earlier, so one company's like, we're working with a large agency holding company right now. We want to do 1,000 ads a month. They're too slow. We want this for ads. Okay, another company's like, oh, we want the cold outbound piece of what you do with Single Brain, because it does end-to-end workflows, builds out cold emails, everything, right? Deal resurrector. And so I've just realized that one, everyone needs a single brain, and that's kind of our wedge into everything. But I think we're going to see a lot more of this, because Ramp, the credit card company,
Uh-huh.
so they do this too. They have something called Glass, I think, and it's like their world intelligence for their internal team, where they can query whatever they want. And then they have this thing called Sensei. It's like a big like Japanese like arc, and Sensei will coach people and say, "Oh, you need these skills over here. Are you adding this?" And then everyone has their own agent, right? So we're already doing that internally, and my team is saying, one person said I'm 40% faster. One person onboarded himself using one of these agents. He's like, it's a 9 out of 10. And someone else yesterday was complaining. They say, hey, how do we fix this? I think I'm dependent on this thing now. So I think this is where the world's going. And I think the fact that I understand more now why Jack Dorsey was confident cutting 40% of people. So
I also think, and you're seeing this, he cut 40% of people because they just weren't growing. So they had kind of no choice.
two things can exist in the same world.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
But by the way, my company's getting off of Amex. I was shocked
Why? Huh?
because I have an Amex credit card.
Wait, without you saying yes? You've been Amex hardcore your whole life.
I still have Amex
Yeah, I know.
personally, and for my other companies.
Okay, so explain the story.
I have no idea. They just told me the other day that we're switching. I believe it's called Ramp. What's the, there's two of them. There's
Ramp
Ramp.
and Brex. You're probably switching to Ramp. You know why? Ramp has APIs, and you can ask whatever you want. Dude, you will like this, because I'm switching us to Ramp. I said, hey, enough of this Bill.com crap. Okay, I'm not gonna apply for Bill.com API. I need
Yeah.
an API so I can ask whatever I want, and I can control all the spending stuff if I need to, but I don't need to.
Yeah, but our team's switching everything to Ramp.
Yeah.
And I didn't ask why. They just said, hey, you're going to get a new credit card. Your Amex is no longer going to work. In the next 30 days, you will get a Ramp credit card.
Are you still keeping your Black Card?
That's personal.
Okay.
Why would I get rid of that?
I don't know.
The perks are amazing.
Explain.
The perks?
Yeah. Your perks keep getting better. That's all I know.
The fees, I think we pay $20,000 a month for the Black Amex. Me, $5,000 a month. I mean,
Uh-huh.
$5,000 a year.
Uh-huh.
My wife's credit card, another $5,000 a year.
Yeah.
And then the corporate cards, I have two other corporations that I own. That's another $5,000 each a year. So just in Amex fees, I'm not talking about,
Yeah.
what I'm spending on the card.
Yeah.
I'm talking about what Amex charges me for the cards
Yeah.
on an annual basis. I believe I'm spending around $20,000.
Did they give you the that LAX airport thing where they like drive you
Yes,
around?
that's
Okay.
one of the biggest things that I use.
Yeah.
So when I land in LAX,
Uh-huh.
I don't have to go through security.
Mhm.
Amex through it's called like private shuttle or service
I
or
forgot what
something
it's
like
called.
that.
Yeah.
They have it at certain airports where, like when I landed from Hong Kong, and I just got back from Canada, but I don't use it for that because if you're a U.S. citizen coming back from Canada, they have immigration when you're in Canada.
Yeah,
So
that's right.
you go through it. So when you land in the U.S., you don't have to go through customs or anything.
Mhm.
But when I was coming from Hong Kong, right when I landed, instead of going through immigration, right when I exit the plane, right, I'm walking down off that off ramp.
Mhm.
There's someone there holding a sign with my name. I'm not talking about even going into the airport. I'm talking about just right when you
Yeah, I
exit
know what you
off
mean,
that
yeah.
ramp, and they'd walk you down the stairs, put you in a car, they take you to a different place. There's a customs person there. If there's, of course, no one in line, it
Mhm.
takes like 1 second.
Mhm.
They get you through. A car picks me up and takes me back to my
Yeah,
home. And guess what my cost was?
0.
Yes.
But that thing typically costs a lot per year. I think was it like 200 grand a year or 100 grand a year
For what?
for that service?
No, it's in the thousands per year, I believe, as a member, and then you got to pay per usage.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of usage for free because you get you get X amount of usage for free per Black Amex card.
Yeah.
So I have so many of them, I
Yeah.
just cycle through
Dude, that's a good clip for you. Uh,
'em. But that's one of the best perks that I get. There's another perk that I get that I've never used. I get free Equinox gym membership.
yeah, you never go, yeah.
I've never
You
signed up
you
for
should
it.
just give it to me and sign me up for your family. I pay for it.
You pay for Equinox
Yeah.
membership?
$300 a month, 350.
It's
350.
that
Yeah,
expensive?
because I use the one at the mall. It's
Yeah, but I can
expensive.
go to any Equinox for free.
Just Eric Patel.
We'll find out if I can use mine and hook it up for you, and I gladly will because I don't use
I'll
Equinox.
take it. Yeah, yeah. Anyway, so okay, but here's the thing we should talk about, and then we can move on here. So Ramp is interesting to me because they ship again. It's kind of like Anthropic. They ship so quickly. Talking about Glass, they're like, here's how we got our company AI built. Here's the software we use over here. You just their velocity is so fast, and nobody talks about Brex anymore. Brex sold, right? And congratulations to
Oh,
the
Brex
Brex.
sold.
Yeah,
It was like MasterCard or one of those companies
yeah,
bought them.
yeah. So to me, like, sure, the founders probably made out well, and congratulations to them. But in my mind, Brex was ahead, and then Ramp was like, oh, another one,
They
and then
kicked their
Ramp
butt.
kicked their butt just by shipping. And I met the founders before, really nice guys.
New York based,
I
I
met them in
believe.
Miami, so they have a house in they have houses
Of
in
course,
Miami.
because they don't want to pay state income tax.
There you go. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But no, it's a good car. I just won't switch because of the Amex perks. The biggest one is actually not the security. It's actually buying plane tickets. I get half off.
Wait, what?
Yeah, the business Centurion, you get half off. When you use points, they'll give you 50% back.
Oh, it's like it was 50% on Platinum before, and then they reduced it to 35%, and they like cheapened that one, but yours stays the same, I think.
I get 50% back every
Are you
time.
talking about you're using just buying it on points?
Yeah, they'll give me 50% back right away.
Yeah, for every flight, any flight.
Uh-huh.
That's good.
So when I look at the cost for the card versus how much I actually save, because I fly so much, the savings is way more than the fees that they're charging me.
Yeah, that's good. And then the way your points accrue, well, here's the problem. Your points would accrue from your personal spend, yes, but your company spend was helping a lot with that in the past,
No, I never collected points from the corporate spend. We just do cash back
which is good.
because our corporate spend was high.
Yeah.
I just have so many points
Yeah.
that I just don't use them.
So remember our late friend Brandon? So he brought this up a long time ago. Like it's like the getting cash back is better because if you're to sell your company
Yes.
later, you have a multiple on that cash.
I don't know about the multiple on the cash because when someone buys your company, they look at every single transaction and they can pick and choose which ones they want to accept. The reason we did cash back is there was a point where I had like 10, 11 million Amex points and it was building really fast. I was stacking up more than 1 million points a month. And I was like, man, what am I doing with all these points? Because half the time when I travel, someone's paying for it. Actually, not even half. Probably like 80 to 90% of the time I'm traveling, someone else is paying for the flight.
Yeah.
So there's only so many times I'm using it. And then I fly so much, I accumulate so many airline miles that I don't even use it. Like when my wife booked the Disney cruise vacation,
Yeah.
I was like, oh, $1,000 per ticket, one way to go from LA to Vancouver, business class. I'm like, these fuel prices are causing plane tickets to be so expensive. I was like, just use the United points. I didn't even care if it was a good deal or not. I just have so many points. I didn't want to pay the $4,000 personally.
Dude, I'll buy your points at a discount.
Yeah, so I don't really use them.
Yeah.
And then I have Amex points.
Yeah.
So I don't really use tons of those either. Yes, I do make enough money from my Amex points, booking flights and stuff like that where it's worth the fees. But majority of the time, like if I'm flying, like I flew Emirates to India right before the war, it was almost $30,000
Yeah.
for a round trip. I didn't pay for that, right? So it's like, and I wouldn't pay for that. I would
Yeah.
go fly business or something that's
Yeah.
way more cheaper. But the points started accumulating. And what I found was when I started getting points, call it 10 years ago, you could redeem them and it was a really good deal. Now, because flights are so expensive, the points don't take you that far. I don't care to collect anymore. Once I'm done using all of mine, I'll cut down on my Amex cards because then I won't need as many. Like the perks won't be as good. I'll keep only 3. I'll get rid of one of the corporation ones. Actually, I should do that now. I don't know why I don't. And then outside of that, you know, I'll just get cash back for everything because the ROI is better if you just get money versus the points.
So, we'll end it with this. I think if you have a surplus of points, don't be an idiot like me. Remember that flight to Dubai when we flew Emirates first class?
Uh-huh.
I was stupid. I could have gotten that flight for 400,000 points. Instead, I spent like 2 million or 2.2 million or something like that, right? But my point is, everyone needs a points dealer. So I actually have a points dealer now that all he does is focus on optimizing points. Okay, I can intro you to him. You
No,
tell
no,
me
no,
I'm
no.
11 million.
I wish you told me before you did that. I could have told you just book it with points.
I did book it with points.
No, not points. The transfer to Emirates.
Yeah, I did. I think I knew about it, but I was too lazy to do it. But it cost me 1.6 million points or 1.8 million points. But my point is, if you have a points dealer, all they do is say, okay, how many points do you have? Where are you trying to go? Okay, I got it. He spends all the time doing it, and you pay him what, $100 to do the work.
Yeah, but the problem now with Emirates, when you transfer points, because I booked my parents' tickets to India, when you transfer to there, a lot of times you'll use the points and they expect you to pay half with cash. So like the deals overall of just using points to book any type of airline,
Is
whether
it because
straight through your
after
credit card
the?
or with the airline, they're terrible. It's not great anymore. Just take your cash.
Do you think they're terrible right now because of the war or?
No, they've been terrible for years. That's why I stopped trying to collect points.
Ah,
The reason I still collect points on Amex is because without getting into it, my personal credit card bills aren't the lowest.
you've already made this public before.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that is it for today. Please don't forget to rate, review, subscribe, and we'll see you tomorrow.